Thank you, Vishwaji, for giving me this wonderful opportunity to do Shabad Seva. Satguru hai rang rez, jo nar more rang डारे, स्याही रंग छुड़ाए के रे, दियो मजीठा रंग, धोए से छूटे नहीं रे, दिन दिन होत सुरंग, सतगुरु है रंग रेज, जो नर मोरे रंग डारे, सतगुरु है रंग रेज, जो नर मोरे रंग डारे. Thank you. Radha Swami. Thank you, Vishwaji.
Welcome everyone. Welcome to today's satsang. So today's song is by Stephanie, A Thousand Years. Then introduction by Michael. Then today's talk is by Rohit ji. Topic is humility, method of acquiring true greatness by Maharaj Savan Singh ji. Then we'll have short dance session. Then we'll play Master's YouTube video, and after that we'll do group meditation with love and devotion. So thank you so much. Now we can start with the song.
For giving me this wonderful opportunity to do Shabad.
Heart beats fast, colors and promises. How to be brave? How can we love when we are afraid to fall? Watching you stand inside, all of our doubts suddenly goes away somehow. One step closer. We have died every day waiting for you. Please help us to be strong. We have loved you for 1,000 years. We'll love you for 1,000 more. Time stands still, beauty in all he is. We will be brave. We will not let anything take away. You're standing inside of me. Every breath, every hour has come to this. One step closer. We have died every day waiting for you. Please help us to be strong. We have loved you for 1,000 years. We'll love you for 1,000 more. All along we believed we would find you. Time has brought your heart to me. We have loved you for 1,000 years. We'll love you for 1,000 more. One step closer. One step closer. We have died every day waiting for you. Please help us to be strong. We have loved you for 1,000 years. We'll love you for 1,000 more. All along we believed we would find you. Time has brought your heart to me. We have loved you for 1,000 years. We'll love you for 1,000 more.
Vinaya, hi. Is Maninder singing? Yeah. Oh, he's not here. Okay. Sorry. Good morning, everyone. I thought Maninder was gonna sing, but he's not here. Welcome to
Yeah,
satsang.
he did not inform me about that, Michael. I'm so sorry.
Okay. All right. No problem. Welcome everyone to satsang of our dear Holy Father, Ishwar Puri Ji, where we all gather here to remember him, to keep our thoughts on him, and where two or more gather in my name, there I am. So satsang is not a mental thing. It has been prescribed by saints and masters of Sant Mat since time began. That even in Jesus, in the Holy Bible, it says, where two or more gather in my name, there I am. So we all gather we all gather in the remembrance of our Holy Master, Ishwar Puri Ji, and we bring his energy, his love, and his presence. And this satsang, since we have started over 175 satsangs ago, when we have started, I have witnessed so many miracles every day just to show me that satsang is arranged by Master moment by moment. Whatever I speak, whatever shabd we play, whatever video of Master we play, and whatever the speakers say, it's all arranged by Master moment by moment by moment, that I have witnessed this miracle on daily basis. On daily basis, even like if I don't look sometimes at the topic of the other speaker, sometimes it matches what I say matches with the, like yesterday, I was talking about death. I didn't even see Dr. Chand's a topic that he was talking about death, but it was all the same. And sometimes also the videos of the master are also in coordinates with the talks. Sometimes I have a question and then the Shab plays it right away and answers my question. So it is all godly coincidence, one after the other and after the other. And to just say that satsang is somebody speaking words and it's a mental thing, that is like from the negative power. That is totally from the mind. As satsang, if it has been blessed by Master and blessed by Baba Sawan Singh and blessed by all perfect masters since time began, and they use the speakers as puppets in their hand to give knowledge and to bring their own presence. That when we all sit in the remembrance of the Master, then he is there for sure. I feel him and he is there. And every day I fill my cup with his presence, my cup with his love, and my cup with his grace that he pours. He pours his grace on me, and I'm sure on everyone here that comes, the grace is being poured and they feel it. And when we meditate, our meditation becomes better. So satsang is a wealth. It's a wealth that is being poured on us, and it goes in our godly accounts as big treasure house of wealth that we carry with us after we die, that we have used this moment to think of Master, to bring Master to our hearts, to connect our soul with Master. And then afterwards, after satsang, then we all meditate together. And just that is just such a great flow of blessings and grace that showers us, and we feel it in our meditation. We experience it in the form of the holy light and the holy sound. So today I wanted talk about Simran. Because I just opened a satsang from Sant Ajayib this morning, and the question was about the first question was about that they asked him was about how we plug our ears. Should we use pressure or should we not use pressure, because sound is different when we use pressure? And Sant Ajayib answered that it is all what you want. It's according to your comfort, how much you press the thumb in the ear. But then he said something that is very beautiful, and he said at some points you don't have to plug your ears, because when you reach the third eye center and you are in full concentration at the third eye center, then the sound starts coming from above by itself, and that sounds pull you into the beyond. And that's something very beautiful, because sometimes we sit in meditation, and our thoughts are not on master. We start to fantasize. We start to fantasize, and that's called the Simran of the world instead of the Simran of the master. And we start to fantasize. And why do we start to fantasize? Because for maybe 12 hours or more, of the 24 hours we have been in the world, and we have not kept our Simran constant on the master, and we're just thinking of the world. So when we come to meditate, it's very hard to rise up to the third eye center where the sound can just flood us, because we have not perfected our Simran. In the olden times, before Saint Kabir and Guru Nanak, the saints and masters never gave the holy light and the holy sound together. First they gave Simran, and only when the disciple perfected his Simran, then they gave the sound. But then what happened? Sometimes at that time, the disciple either died before he perfected his Simran, or the master left the body before the disciple perfected his Simran. And then what happens? What happens when the master leaves the body? There's so many claimants, there's so many confusions, and the negative power never allows the perfect master to be revealed or announced publicly by the previous master. So there is always a confusion, and then liberation is not attained sometimes, and people have to be reborn again. So Father God has much more grace on us. At the time of Guru Nanak and Saint Kabir, they started to give both Simran and the holy sound together. That they started to give this grace of God, that they give us Simran and the holy sound before we have perfected our Simran. But in order to listen to the holy sound, and like Bibi Raj said, at some point she told me that the sound will just flood you. It will be like it will engulf us. It will engulf us like a holy fire, and it will be all around us, and we don't have to plug our ears. We can even at that time meditate with our eyes open. That's what Bibi Raj says. And that's what Sant Ajayib was saying, that because we have not perfected our Simran, that's why we listen to the sound, but it doesn't pull us up to the real sound. As only liberation can be attained when we start to listen to that sound, the Shabd, and we climb to God. We climb on the ladder of Shabd. We go to God on the ladder of Shabd. Shabd takes us to God. So the first step is to perfect our Simran. And how do we perfect our Simran? We have to put a lot of effort in the beginning. Try to always notice, are we keeping Simran? Are we listening to, are we repeating Simran? Are we thinking of Master? Try to introspect ourselves. That's why saints and masters, always prescribe the diaries to try to the diaries. When we try to introspect ourselves, also we can see how much time we are putting in Simran, and how much time we're putting on the meditation of the holy light and the holy sound. There is in Sant Kirpal's the diary, there is a column that says, about how much time we are spending in light meditation and in sound meditation, and what kind of experiences we are having, and how much time we are putting in Simran. So our purpose is to perfect our Simran. And once we perfect our Simran, then it will be so easy to come to the third eye center and catch the Shabd. Catch the Shabd, which is the train to God, the, the hand of God pulling us. Shabd is God and God is Shabd. Um, so I wanted to say a story that is also in coordinates with this about Simran, about thinking of the Master. And it has this story. I don't know if I've ever said it before, maybe parts of it I said, but it's the story of Sukdev and King Janak. Sukdev, how he went to King Janak. And in this story, there is a lot of mystical meanings, a lot of mystical benefits, not only about Simran, but also about doubts, about humility, about pride, how we have to all get rid of all these. So Sukdev was a son of a very known Rishi Ved Vyas. And Sukdev have been like a Muni or a Rishi in the past lives. He has done a lot of meditation, but without a perfect living master. So he has attained a lot of knowledge, a lot of true knowledge he has attained through just his own meditations. And when he was sent into when he was in the womb of his mother, he was also scared to be born and didn't want to come to the world because he was scared to be swept away by Maya. And they said that the Lord, when he was born, the Lord for 1 hour suspended the operations of Maya until he was born. So from his childhood, when he was still a boy, he was going to the forest and doing his meditations there in the forest. One time, he uh, he decided to go to a temple. The temple is called Vishnu Puri or something like that. And then when he went to the temple, right away the doorman refused him entrance and barred him from entering. And he was wondering how come he cannot enter the temple. And then the doorman referred this to Lord Vishnu, and Lord Vishnu spoke to Sukdev and told him that nobody can enter here without a guru. Go find a guru, and then you can come here. So then Sukdev went to his father and asked him who he can recommend for a guru. Who will he recommend for a guru? And his father told him, you know what? I recommend King Janak. King Janak, go to him and he will help you. And then Sukdev, because he has big ego and pride, and he's like, how can a Brahmin, how can you compare me? I'm a Brahmin, I'm a sannyasi. How can you compare me to a king? And what does the king have to give me? He is engulfed in the worldly pleasures. And so they say, the story says that his father told him, no, please go. And in the story, it says that he went 13 times. He went, and every time he goes, his doubt comes, his mind comes, and he returns back. And then he has like some criticism of the King Janak, because he just was saying like, how could King Janak be a realized person, and he is a king. So then one of the Munis, his name was Sage Narad. Sage Narad, he had pity on him, and he saw that his condition. So what he did, he disguised himself as somebody putting earth in a bucket and throwing the earth in the river, trying to build a dam, but the river was taking every bucket of mud he filled. The river was taking that mud away. So then Sukdev went to the old man and told him, old man, this is like very foolish. You should first put like some sticks, then put like big stones, then you could throw the mud, and then this way you can dam the river. And then the old man answered him and said, but there is a more foolish person than me, and his name is Sukdev. And because he criticized the realized person, he lost his merits. he had 14 merits and he has lost 12 of his merits because he had doubt and he criticized a realized person. So this is one of the things that we have to learn, that never criticize anybody, because what if the person was realized and we criticize a realized person, a saint, then we lose our merits. So it's good, even if we have doubt about the saint, not to criticize that saint and to leave him alone, because this way we can lose our merits. So when Sukdev heard that he lost 12 of his 14 merits, he fainted. He fainted, and then the old man left, the sage Narad left, and then Sukdev woke up, and then he saw that he remembered the words of the old man, and he ran to the palace of the king. When he reached the palace of the king, he thought that, oh, I am the son of a rishi that is known, and the king will come out of the palace and greet me and invite me in. But then when he reached the palace, he was ordered to stand where they throw the garbage. And they say, the story says that he stood there for 3 days and they were throwing the garbage there, and he was stuck in the garbage, but there was a soldier there and of the king, and he ordered him to stay there and not to move. Then on the 3rd day, the king asked, oh, where is Sukadev? Please bring him here. And they said, oh, he is stuck in the refuse, in the garbage. Please bring him. So they brought him and they bathed him and they gave him new clothes, and then he came to the king. As he entered the king knew that Sukdev thinks that he is engrossed in worldly pleasures. So he did a miracle. He had one of his foot in an oven, like in a hot coal, and the other foot he was being massaged by a beautiful woman. So when Sukdev entered the palace, he could see that one of the feet of the king is in hot coal and the other feet is being massaged. He could realize that this is a great man, and he was totally wrong about about judging him, that he is only in sensual pleasures. Then the king did another miracle, and he in the miracle it says that people came to him and says, oh king, the kingdom is on fire, the whole kingdom is on fire. He said, oh, that's God's will. Then they came to the king and they told him, you know, the fire is approaching, it's on the doors of the palace. And he said, well, it's God's will, let it be. Then they came to him and they said, the fire has reached the door of your room. And then he said, well, that's God's will, let it be. And then Sukadev, when he heard this, he grabbed his belongings, which were like a bundle on a stick. He grabbed his belonging and started to run away. And then the king held his hand and he said, hey, Sukadev, look, you think I'm attached to my kingdom and everything? Who's more attached? I don't care about this kingdom, but yet when you heard the fire is here, you took your belongings and you were running, thinking only of your belongings and running to save your belongings. Who is more attached, you or me? And then Sukadev could know that, wow, King Janak is a great king. And then he asked for initiation. He went to the feet of King Janak and asked for initiation. But King Janak said, no, you're not going to get initiation. You're not ready yet. There is one more thing. Prepare, he told everybody in the palace, prepare a big fair for Sukadev in his honor. And they had beautiful, gorgeous, sexy dancers and music everywhere. And he said, and Sukadev had they dressed him in a robe of honor, and he said, we have prepared all this in your honor. And then he was excited that he's going to see all these. But then the king gave him a big cup of milk filled to the brim. And he said, yes, you can go and watch the fair. However, here's the soldier with a sword. If you spill one drop, if you spill one drop of milk, he gave orders to the soldiers to cut Sukadev's head. So Sukadev had to go through the whole fair and make sure that he doesn't spill one drop of milk. And as he was going, he was holding it very tight and just only looking at the milk because he was scared he's going to lose his head. Because the king was very, very serious when he gave the order. He said, if one drop is lost, take his head off. So then, after he went through the whole fair, he reached back to King Janak, and King Janak said, oh, did you enjoy the fair? How was the fair? Did you like the dancers? And Sukadev said, oh, dear king, I couldn't see anything. I was scared that I will lose my head, and I kept my attention on the milk the whole time. And then King Janak said, this is how your attention should be on God. This is how my attention is on God, because I am also scared if I lose the king was saying, I am also scared that if I lose one moment not thinking of God, I will lose my head. I will lose my head. And it is like a death-like situation to me. So the cup resembles the body, or it's like a death. The milk is like our mind, and all the dancers and the fair is like the sensual pleasures. So the king says, I make sure that the milk of my mind does not spill outside to the pleasures. And every moment I have to take precaution and have to make sure that my attention is on God. For the God lovers, it is hard for them even one moment without thinking of God. Is it painful? Is painful to them. Even for me, like I like some of my worldly friends, that I have karma with. They tell me, "Oh, come, let's watch this." It's about COVID or about masks, how they take out our identity and erase our identity. And one of my friends wanted me to watch, and I was watching, but then it's like all worldly things, and it's painful. And then my thumb right away like jumps to my ear, boom, and goes inside my ear because I just want to feel master. And then the person said, "Oh, are you okay?" Oh yeah, yeah, I'm okay, I'm okay. So I sometimes I act that I am, even though I'm not a true lover of God, still, I'm on my way. But still, like to lose my concentration on Pastor and on God also is painful. It's painful, and I sometimes I act. I act like I'm a great actor, that I'm watching something that they tell me to watch, either when I'm with my family or with doing with my worldly friends that I have karma with, and they tell me watch something, and then I act like I'm watching, but my head is in Simran and is in God. Sometimes they catch that, but sometimes I repeat the last word that was being said, and then they, oh, okay, he was listening. But this is the story of Sukadev that I wanted to tell you, that how we should perfect our Simran, we should. And when he went to his father, when Sukadev went to his father told him, how was the guru? How was the guru? And he said, is he like the sun? And Sukadev said, yes, he is like the sun, but he has no heat. And his father said, is he like the moon? He's like, yes, he has the coolness of the moon, but he has no stain. The guru is like a guru, he was saying. So, and then the father said, you have overcome your pride and doubts. These are the two greatest obstacles in the way of finding a guru and the way to true enlightenment. That doubt and pride. Even when I came to Ishwar Puri Ji, from Sant Takar, after Sant Takar Singh died, I had, my ego was big. Like I listened to Ishwar Puri Ji, and listen to me, I am a nothingness. And I was like, oh, he doesn't say Father God. I was like judging him, criticizing him. He doesn't say Father God. I could give a better satsang than him. Look at me, this nothingness, this crow is trying to compare himself to Father God. This is how I was when I first met Ishwar Puri Ji. And then I was like putting them into tests. I was putting him into tests that, okay, if you are Father God, then give me a piece of chocolate. And when I go to the prasad line, I'm like, where is the chocolate? And I remember I remember Ishwar Puri Ji saying, have this. Whatever it was. Then they started putting chocolate in the in the prasad later on. But I was testing him. I had doubts about him. I was criticizing. I guess I was losing. I hope I was I was losing my merits, like Sukadev, because you cannot learn from me. Don't ever criticize a saint, even because that's not good. I probably lost some of my merits, but I know Ishwar Puri Ji is my holy father, and whatever I lost, he replenished right away. Everybody goes through this process of doubt and pride, ego and doubt. We think we are, even when I went to Sant Singh, I remember, I read about Raja Yoga, and I'm like, oh, I know so much. I read this book about Raja Yoga. You know, it is like the Maya, the negative power takes hold of us through our ego and through our doubts and doesn't allow us to get what we have to get from the master. But we all go through the doubts, and we all go through testing the master. Once we overcome that stage, it's good if we overcome. If we are lucky enough to overcome that stage, because some people never overcome. I know one of my friends. I took him to see Ishwar Puri Ji 50, maybe 30 times, and yet his mind still comes in doubt. And now he stopped coming to satsang, and I feel so sorry.
Part of their mandate, it's not part of their programming to teach others or to take others back home. We are a perfect living master taking others back home. Otherwise, the level of awareness is identical to them. And that is why these masters, they come here, they take us by a different process altogether. I mentioned to you in the morning that our job is to go up to the third eye center. And I told you how the repetition of words, the Simran, the mantra has to be used in such a way that every part of the thought process starts repeating in chorus to make it worthwhile. Once you are able to forget your body, withdraw your attention from there, you will hear a melody, a sound, a kind of a resonance inside, and it takes many forms. It has several forms of sounds which are already there. These sounds do not come from external sources. Some sounds come from within the body, from the blood flow. If you're trying to concentrate hard, the blood flow can be seen, your breathing can be heard, some other physical sounds start off. But later on, you find that as you concentrate your attention on yourself, on your own conscious self, not on the body, not on the senses, not on your thoughts, but on your true self, the sound that emanates is coming from your own self. And that sound is a continuous sound, though changes in its nature, but the sound never stops when you are going on a journey towards a greater realization of yourself. It continues as unbroken link. All other experiences I am explaining to you are broken links. When we go to sleep and have a dream, it's a broken link. We in the dream world, we are not aware of our body at all. We wake up, the dream disappears. It's a broken link. From here we go in meditation, go to the astral stage, and we become unaware of our body. It's a broken link. We don't remember our body. But the sound that we start hearing at the third eye center while we are still in the body is a continuous, undisturbed, and continuous connected sound through every level of experience right to our true home. That is why it is recommended that if you can find that sound within yourself, which you can as soon as you are able to withdraw your attention fully, and sometimes you can hear the sound when you withdraw your attention partially, and you can then use the sound to withdraw more fully. When you can hear that sound, you can put your attention on the sound. It is much easier than putting attention on where you belong and where you are in the head. Because the sound is coming from where you are in the head. You don't have to try to locate where are you in the head, where is the pineal gland, where is the center, where is behind the eyes. If you hear that sound which has a pull, because pulling you towards itself, that is yourself. Then the sound is the reality because it connects you to the ultimate reality. So that unique sound, which is different from any other sound, because of its melody, because of its power to pull, its power to make you unconscious of your body faster than any method that you may try yourself. So when you can be pulled by that sound and you stick with that, it can take you from one level of experience to another continuously. That is how the birth came of the Surt Shabd Yoga, the yoga of the Surt being put on the Shabd, attention on the sound. The whole yoga, the system of union with your true self in Sachkhand, through the process of putting attention on the sound came from there, from the resonance of the self. Therefore, if you reach that point and use this method, it's a faster method to go home. And that is why I have tried many types of yogas in my own life. And I did it because my master himself said, find out something better than I am giving you and take it. So I took him very seriously, tried to find anything better than what he taught me. He taught me Srut Shabd Yoga. And I thought maybe other yogas may be better. So I tried everything. And ultimately I found that nothing could match that in the power to withdraw attention and take you to yourself. So the power of the sound inside to draw you inside is so strong that if you can stick with that continuously, it will open up the different levels and make your withdrawal from one body to another very quick. So that's Srut Shabd Yoga can take you up to several levels. But then the sound, the listening to the sound involves a lot of other things also. For example, in the physical body, we are used to listening to the sound with the ears. In the physical body, we are using sound to communicate, which we call language. It's a spoken, written language. We are using the spoken, written language. In our Hindi Sanskrit phrases, we call it Varanatmak sound. Varanatmak means it can be Varnan, that means it can be explained, it can be spoken, it can be written, it can be communicated. We are all using only Varanatmak sound while here. In order to move forward to the true sound, we still use Varanatmak sound. I mentioned mantra is being used. They are Varanatmak. They are words, spoken words. We use Varanatmak sound only to pull our attention to defeat the mind's thoughts, to replace the mind's thought with the Varanatmak shabd that we are using. When you get the sound, it is not spoken language at all. It's not a written language either. It's not the kind of music that you can write. It has its own resonance and pull. So then the sound becomes dhunatmak sound. Dhun means a sound that you can hear, a sound that can pull, but it is not a language that you've been speaking. But the beauty is that when you have dhunatmak sound, you discover that is the source of varanatmak sound. And there's a very interesting fact I'm going to tell you, that when you have a telepathic communication, people say, I can talk to people telepathically. What is telepathy? Telepathy is that you think of something in your head. Of course, you think in words. You think of something in your head, another person to whom you are connected can understand what you're thinking. Have you ever noticed that if you think in English and the other person does not know English, only German, that person will understand it in German? Did you know that telepathy does not involve Varanatmak sound? It involves Dhunatmak sound. Dhunatmak sound carries the meanings of all languages. And this is a great experience you can have when you are at the center of this astral plane. That means when you become unaware of the physical body, that the Dhunatmak sound becomes your means of communication with everybody. All souls with astral bodies that you encounter, which is a much vaster creation than even this physical creation that you encounter at that point. People you think have died in the physical bodies are alive there. There's so many friends who've been living long ago are still living there. When you have those experiences of meeting those people, you can speak any language or not speak a language. Just have a thought and they understand no matter what language they know. And this telepathy is coming really from there. People who have telepathic experiences are not getting it from physical communication at all. They're getting it from astral communication. So there the normal method of communication is telepathic. The dhunatmak sound takes you there. But after that, the spoken word has no value. And we think that this mantra is going to take us all over. No. It's a different kind of sound after dhunatmak sound. Then after that, you go into the causal plane, and the dhunatmak sound, which we can hear from beginning and end it when we like, becomes endless. It is anhad sound, anhad shabd, anhad. The anhad shabd or the anhad sound it has no beginning and no middle and no end. It's continuous. People in yoga that I also tried to imitate the anhad shabd by thinking it can be repeated with the tongue. How can you repeat with the tongue? How can you repeat with your mouth something that is continuous with no beginning, no middle and no end? That's only possible where time itself is being created into infinity, which is the causal plane. In the causal plane, when you reach there, you find that you get into that zone, which is different from the zone of the astral plane because it is timeless. It's eternity. People in the temples, in the yoga center that I went, said, you can do that anhad shabd. I said, how do we do that? He said, well, the word Om comes from there. I said, Om starts with O and M is M, no matter what language you write. It's very limited. How can Om be an infinite, unending sound? They said, no, don't say Om like that. Say it differently. I said, okay, then they trained me how to create an indefinite, no beginning, no middle, no end, indefinite Om from my mouth. They started by humming slightly. And so on. Even that has a beginning and an end. But we try to imitate as if there's a sound that we can immediately know it's a no beginning because we understand the nature of time at that place. So the anhad shabd pulls us in a different way. But then this shabd that is beyond that is beyond space and time, and you can't even call it a sound. Yet we are calling it a sound because connected with these sounds. That resonance that pulls us beyond time and space, we call the sar shabd. The sar shabd is something that it has its own personality. Like it's a friend saying, come on, I'll take you up. Like lift you up. It's that kind of a experience. It's very different from any sounds. Yet because it's connected continuously, we have not moved from one to the other, but it's just transformed from one to the other. We call it the sar shabd, and we move through a stage where we discover our soul with no mind, no senses, no body, and discover all these covers were created from consciousness of the soul, and they are just covers upon it for differential and different experiences. What a remarkable experience to discover your own true self. We say, know thyself. That's a secret. If you have known yourself, you will know totality pretty quickly. Because when you know yourself, that you are a unit of consciousness, you will then want to find out what is your totality. Now that part is very difficult for anybody when I say this individuated self to go. No individuated part can discover the total. The total must discover the part. Therefore, one who is perfect already in totality of consciousness can alone pull us through that stage of par brahm, of the state of individuated consciousness into totality of consciousness. And that stage where we go to the top, we call that part as sat shabd, the true sound. It's not a sound, but we call it a sound all the way through. So when you practice surt shabd yoga, you'll find that the nature of the sound changes at every stage. And the spoken sound has a limited use, and the other kinds of experiences you have, which are pulling you, take you to the highest level of awareness and consciousness. So this is a great method to practice. But if the sound itself has changed, what can pull you above the mind? It must be something that is existing on the other side to pull you. From here, we can push ourselves. When we try to meditate, we are pushing ourselves. When we try to do repetition of words and repeat mantras, we are pushing ourselves. When we start listening to the sound, we are being pulled. I compare this with our two types of cars we sell, the rear wheel drive and the front wheel drive. The rear wheel drive engine pushes the car, and the front wheel drive pulls the car. So all our meditational efforts here are pushing the car. But when the inner sound pulls us, it is pulling the car. It's pulling ourselves. The ultimate stage of pull beyond the mind cannot take place unless it is pulled by a force beyond the mind. Now, when we look at the forces beyond the mind, there are only three, which at least we can explain as three. The power of love, the power of intuitive knowledge, and the power of the blissful state. These are the three that can pull us. Therefore, something has to pull us. Now, that is where the role of the perfect living master comes in, who is a human being just like us, amongst us, but with the awareness from where he can pull us up. How does he pull us up? Not by giving us talks and speeches, not by explaining teachings, not by explaining the methods of doing things, but by pure love, by unconditional love, a love that pulls our soul and not our mind. Our mind questions what is happening to us, and something is happening to us which we can't even explain. It's the love coming from the other side of our mind, beyond the mind, and that love pulls us. So perfect living masters, when they come here, they become teachers for the sake of our minds. We like to be taught. They try to teach us things, they try to give you methods. There is no method that they are going to use. Their method is to draw you from the power of love and put into you the intuitive knowledge, which automatically you get answers to your questions, and the love pulls you, and that's the way to go to the top. To go to totality of consciousness, no other method works except love and devotion. And that is why I could summarize our whole spiritual journey, that the spiritual journey is dependent upon love and devotion. If you have no love and devotion, you can meditate forever and not go beyond the mind. Because all efforts is mental. You can go to the top of the mind with all your efforts. But if you have to be pulled beyond the mind to your true self and to your true home, totality of consciousness, it can only be with an unconditional love that can pull you there. And such a love comes from a human being who, when he is in contact with us, when he is a friend of ours here in the physical world, he is pulling with that power of love, unconditional love, which we can't even explain fully. When we try to understand it with our mind, we ourselves fail. We can't understand it even. But our soul understands, because we're still being pulled. The mind says, I will not go and see that man again, but I come up again. I don't know why. What is this? I don't believe that man. He's just making up stories, but I still want to go and see him. What's going on? The power of this unconditional love. It is so unconditional. If you have experience with a perfect living master, you will find his love is so unconditional. He will love you whether you love him or not. If you love him, he will love you. If you don't love him, he'll love you. If you hate him, he will love you. If you kill him, he will love you. That's the nature of that unconditional love of a perfect living master. There's no condition attached at all to that love. And I tell you, this is one of the greatest experiences one can have by associating with a perfect living master. That power of love, which is so unconditional. No judgment is involved in that. A master of that order never says, be a good boy, then I will help you. Follow these rules, then I will help you. Nothing, no condition is imposed on his love for us. Why does he then, how does he judge who to take and who not to take? How is the selection made if it is so unconditional? There is no judgment involved at all. It is based upon a process which we ourselves set up. Before we ever came into this universe, before we ever made up this world, before we ever left our totality, before we ever became souls, we made a good arrangement for ourselves. We made an arrangement that we'll go into all these experiences, make them as real as possible, so we enjoy them. But there was a danger. If we make these experiences so real, we'll take them as reality and get caught up there forever. So we ourselves made an arrangement that when we are fed up of the show we are watching, when we are fed up of life as we are living in any level, then we should have an arrangement by which we ourselves should be able to go back. Our own self will appear in the form of another being with the awareness which actually belongs to us. And we will call it a perfect living master, and he will give us that perfect living master's love, unconditional love, and take us back home. We made this arrangement ourselves in order not to get caught here forever. Now, who are these souls that made this arrangement? The soul that made these arrangements and are getting fed up of this experience from time to time, we call them the marked souls. And these masters, they come specifically for those souls who made arrangements to go back at that time. And therefore, they have come specifically for those souls. They have not made a judgment in picking them up. It is the soul that has decided. Soul that has decided, now it's my time to go, and they appear. You don't search for them. Nobody can find them. They are so ordinary. They're just like us. How can you find them? If somebody says, I can find a master, I know how to find one, I think he's a master himself. Only a master can find a master. We don't have any idea how to find them. But they can find us if we are marked souls of their list and they come to take us back because we made that arrangement. Then we are marked in their list and they take us home. So these people, whom we call perfect living masters, they come to pick up marked souls, marked for their time, marked for their own particular individual stage of experience in these worlds that we have created. So the marked souls, they get in contact. In India they say, when a chela is ready, a guru appears. When a disciple is ready, a master appears. That's what they say. They don't say, when a chela is ready, he will find a master. When a disciple is ready, he can find a master. No. They say, when a disciple is ready to go back home, a master will appear in his life. And that is how they appear. They appear by coincidences, by circumstances, by strange coincidences, which themselves sometimes affect us. How come this was the exact time that we were thinking of this and this has happened? These coincidences are not accidents. They are designed. They are well built in advance. And the coincidences bring those masters into our life at the right time. And therefore, we are ready. They initiate us. They tell us, because of our mind, do this, and you come up to that point, we start our journey from there. And what is that point? Third eye center behind the eyes. We draw your attention from here, we'll be waiting for you, and we'll go together and have a good time all the way and reach home together. That's the promise they give us. So, but there are many others who also come in contact with such beings. What about the unmarked souls? What about those who are not marked but happen to be in touch with these masters, because the masters have to roam around. In a creation, there are so many souls, so many bodies around. The unmarked souls, when they come in contact, they get marked for a future time. Though they don't lose, they get marked, and later on, another master appears, either in this life or a later life, and takes them back home. This is an arrangement we ourselves made, and worked very beautifully, still working. So therefore, never worry about finding a master. People worry about it. They tell me, we're looking for a perfect master. How can we find one? If I give them an honest answer, they don't like it. I say, you can't. That's the honest answer. You can't find. Then what do we do? Be ready. Just get ready. Get ready inside. Look at your life. Are you still enjoying it? Are you happy? Go ahead, enjoy more. Time is not yet. If you're saying, no, I've had enough, I feel it's time to go home. My inside is telling me, I want to go back to my true home. I'm done with this. Then you're ready. That's simple. If you're ready, a master will appear in your life. But it's quite possible that you may have several masters coming into your life. Why does that happen? It happens the same way like we get educated in schools, and we get into an elementary school, we get teachers who are not the same qualification as when we go to university or college, and their teachers are more qualified. If a young kid says, oh, I want to go, my eldest cousin was going to college and he had a PhD doctor and a PhD professor teaching, I want to go to that college. No, you have to first go to school, and then you go there. A similar pattern exists here, where we are on a different kind of approach, different kind of learning, different kind of teaching, different kind of experiences, that we may need an experience only up to a certain part. Our aim itself is not higher than that. Our aim is to find the truth, and somebody is saying, go and have a bath in that river, go and have worship that statue outside, worship the tree outside, worship these birds outside, nature is everything, go into nature and find the truth. Well, don't do it. That's your stage. It doesn't mean you're doing something wrong, but that's your stage. You are showing you're seeking, but you're not ready for going within to your true home. So you go through that phase. Then somebody comes and says, no, you have to go within, leave the body and fly inside. That's great. And a master comes into your life who teaches you how to withdraw your attention, fly inside. He says, that is our sachkhand, that's our true home. That's all you expected. And that's all the guy who's teaching you expects. That's all he has experienced himself. Therefore, he's still a master. He's still your master. He still took you to the point where he can take you. But he's not a perfect living master because that's the end of his journey and end of your journey with him. But supposing your seeking is beyond that. After reaching that, you say, I want more. I expected more. You will find another master who will take you higher and more. We get several masters. Our scriptures say that there are at least 4 masters in our life. The first one is our mother, who gives birth to us and takes care of us, teaches us the basic things of our life. Then comes, they ignore the fathers, I guess, in that list. I'm sorry about that. But the next is the school teacher, and then there is the church or the religious teacher, then comes the spiritual teacher. There's mentioned four masters, 4 teachers, 4 gurus they talk of. So here we're talking that even as a spiritual teacher, there's several levels. We know the levels. We know there's a physical level in which we are living, and we can vacate this body, become unaware, and go to an astral level where we can fly. We have no gravity. We have totally different experiences. We can stop time. We can have an experience forever. It's not time like here. There's so many features of that experience which look like reality. It's like waking up to a reality. And masters can take us there. There are masters who can take us to the source of creation of karma, creation of all this. And they are also masters of the level of Brahma, level of the mind, causal plane. Then there are very rare masters. Because we are all going through these stages of development, spiritual development. Rare masters, who will then fall into the category of perfect living masters who take us beyond the mind. And that we call them separate as a category because they will use their power of unconditional love to take us. Then beyond them there are masters who will take us to our truest home, to our true home, totality of consciousness, where there is no difference between you and the master. There is no difference between anybody. We are all the same. We are all one source. So those are truly perfect living masters. The ones who take us to our own soul, beyond the mind, we have called them Sadgurus in the text. And those who have taken us to the top, we call Satgurus, but both are categorized as perfect living masters. They've both taken us out of the domain of the mind in which we are living now. So these are some of the things that I have been thinking of sharing with you, because sometimes we don't understand these, sometimes we put everything.
That was a gorgeous, so powerful talk of Master. I sent it to the WhatsApp group, and Master looks gorgeous with his dress. So now it's time to meditate. So if we can leave, forget about the world outside and the body below, and come up here to the third eye center where Master is waiting, and repeat the holy Simran with love and devotion slowly at intervals with the tongue of thought. And I wish you the best meditation. I hope to see you tomorrow for another holy day in Holy Father God, and I'll keep Zoom on for 20 minutes. Enjoy your meditation.